Have you ever looked around and wondered why some people seem to build wealth almost effortlessly, while others, no matter how hard they work, seem to be stuck in a constant financial struggle? Is it luck? Is it their background? Or is there something deeper, something fundamental that separates the rich from the poor? What if I told you the single biggest difference isn't in their bank accounts, but in their minds? Welcome. Today we're embarking on a deep dive into a concept that could fundamentally change the way you view money, success, and your own potential. We'll be exploring the powerful ideas from Charles Daodu's insightful book, The Rich Mindset versus the Poor Mindset, Why the Rich Get Richer and the Poor Get Poor. This isn't just another book about getting rich quick. It's a blueprint for rewiring your thinking. Over the next 30 minutes, we are going to dissect the core philosophies that govern our financial lives. We will move beyond the surface-level advice of save more, spend less, and get to the very root of wealth creation. We'll explore 7 critical distinctions between the rich mindset and the poor mindset. These aren't just theories, they are practical, observable patterns of thought and behavior that have profound, real-world consequences. By the end of our journey today, you will not only understand why the rich get richer, but you will also have a clear roadmap of actionable steps to start cultivating a rich mindset in your own life, starting today. So, get comfortable, open your mind, and let's begin to unravel the secrets that lie within our own thinking. The very first and perhaps most foundational difference between these two mindsets lies in their fundamental attitude towards money itself. It's about what money represents to them. For someone operating from a poor mindset, money is often viewed with a mix of fear, stress, and desire. It's seen as the ultimate goal. It's the solution to all problems. The thinking goes, if only I had more money, my life would be perfect. Money becomes an end in itself. Because of this, it's often seen as a scarce resource, something to clutch tightly, worry about constantly, and spend quickly on things that provide immediate relief for pleasure. They might say things like, money is the root of all evil, or feel a sense of guilt when they acquire it, and an even greater sense of panic when they spend it. This emotional relationship with money creates a cycle of earning to spend, always chasing the next paycheck just to cover the expenses of the last one. Money controls them. It dictates their emotions and their decisions. Now, let's contrast this with the rich mindset. To the wealthy, money is not the goal. It is a tool. It is a resource. It is a powerful instrument that can be used to create more value, more freedom, and more impact. They see money as an abundant resource, not a scarce one. They understand that money is a result of providing value, and if they can create more value, they can generate more money. It's like a carpenter viewing a hammer. The carpenter doesn't worship the hammer. They respect it as a tool that helps them build a house. Similarly, a person with a rich mindset respects money for what it can do. It can build businesses, it can generate passive income, it can buy back their time, which is their most valuable asset. They are not emotionally attached to money in a fearful way. They are strategic about it. They learn its rules, how it moves, how it grows, and how to put it to work. Think of it this way. The poor mindset has money as its master. The rich mindset is the master of its money. This single shift in perspective, from seeing money as the end goal to seeing it as a versatile tool, is the starting point for everything else that follows.
This leads us directly to the second key distinction, which is a practical application of that first principle. It's the profound difference in understanding and prioritizing assets versus liabilities. This concept was famously popularized by Robert Kiyosaki, but it's a timeless principle of wealth. To put it simply, an asset is something that puts money into your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. It sounds simple, but the application is where the two mindsets diverge dramatically. The poor mindset is conditioned, often by society and advertising, to accumulate liabilities. When they get a pay raise or a bonus, the first thought is often, what can I buy? This could be a brand new car with a high monthly payment, the latest smartphone, designer clothes, or a bigger house than they truly need. These things look like symbols of wealth. They provide social status and immediate gratification, but financially, they are liabilities. The new car has loan payments, insurance, fuel, and maintenance costs. The bigger house has higher taxes, more upkeep, and larger utility bills. These things continuously drain money from their owner. The person is working hard at their job to earn money, only to feed it directly into a system of liabilities that keeps them poor. They are trapped in what we call the rat race, running faster and faster on the hamster wheel just to pay for the liabilities they've acquired. The rich mindset, on the other hand, is obsessed with acquiring assets. When they receive extra money, their first thought is not, what can I buy, but how can I invest this? They use their money to buy things that will generate more money for them in the future. What are these assets? They could be stocks that pay dividends, real estate that generates rental income, a business that produces profit, or intellectual property that earns royalties. They delay gratification. Instead of buying the fancy car today, they buy an asset that in a few years will generate enough passive income to buy that car for them, without them ever having to touch their principal investment. Their focus is on building an army of money soldiers that go out and work for them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. While the poor mindset's financial statement shows income flowing in from a job and flowing straight out to expenses and liabilities, the rich mindset's statement shows income from a job or business flowing into an asset column, which in turn generates even more income. Over time, this cycle compounds, and their wealth grows exponentially, while the person focused on liabilities finds their financial situation stagnating or even worsening. The third crucial difference is how each mindset approaches the concept of risk. This is a big one because our relationship with risk often dictates our potential for growth in all areas of life, especially finance. The poor mindset is fundamentally driven by fear. The primary goal is security and avoiding loss at all costs. They see risk as a threat, a dangerous gamble where they could lose everything. This fear keeps them in their comfort zone. They might stay in a job they hate for 30 years because it's safe and has a steady paycheck, even if it offers no growth. When it comes to investing, they are terrified of the stock market, seeing it as a casino. They prefer to keep their money in a low-interest savings account where it is safe, not realizing that inflation is silently eroding its value every single day. The biggest risk, in their view, is taking a risk. Their life is structured around minimizing downside, but in doing so, they also completely eliminate any potential for significant upside. The rich mindset, on the contrary, understands that there is no reward without risk. However, this doesn't mean they are reckless gamblers. Far from it. The key difference is that they take calculated risks. They don't avoid risk, they manage it. Before making an investment or starting a business, they do their homework. They educate themselves, they research the market, they analyze the potential upsides and the potential downsides. They ask questions like, what is the worst-case scenario, and can I survive it? If the potential reward significantly outweighs the managed risk, they are willing to move forward. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of success. Every failure is a learning opportunity, a data point that makes them smarter for the next venture. They understand that the so-called safe path of staying in a single job and relying on a single source of income is actually one of the riskiest financial strategies of all in today's fast-changing world. The true risk from their perspective is the risk of stagnation, the risk of doing nothing and letting opportunities pass by. They embrace calculated risk as the vehicle for growth and wealth.
Let's move on to the fourth distinction, which fuels all the others. This is the chasm between a mindset of continuous learning and a mindset of I already know. A person with a poor mindset often believes that their education ended when they left school. They might feel they have a degree or a diploma, and that's all the knowledge they need to navigate their career and life. They see learning as a chore, something they had to do in the past. As a result, they rarely read books on finance, personal development, or new skills. They might spend their free time on passive entertainment rather than active self-improvement. When faced with a new idea or a differing opinion, their ego often gets in the way. They are quick to say, "I know that," or "that won't work," effectively shutting down any possibility of growth. This fixed mindset creates a ceiling on their potential. The world is constantly changing. New technologies are emerging, and new financial strategies are being developed. But they remain stuck in the past, operating with outdated information. The rich mindset, conversely, is characterized by an insatiable hunger for knowledge. They are lifelong learners. They understand that their most valuable asset is not their money, but their mind. They invest heavily in themselves. Wealthy and successful people are almost always voracious readers. They read books, articles, and reports. They attend seminars, take courses, and hire coaches and mentors. They understand that the more they learn, the more they can earn. They are not afraid to say, "I don't know," because they see it as an opportunity to learn something new. They actively seek out people who know more than they do. They ask questions, listen intently, and are always open to new perspectives. This growth mindset allows them to adapt, to innovate, and to spot opportunities that others miss. They know that a single idea from a book or a conversation could be worth millions. While the poor mindset sees education as an expense, the rich mindset sees it as the single best investment they can ever make. The fifth difference is one of pure perspective. It's about how the two mindsets view the world around them, specifically when it comes to opportunities versus obstacles. The poor mindset is conditioned to see obstacles everywhere. They operate from a place of scarcity and limitation. When presented with a new opportunity, their brain immediately starts listing all the reasons why it can't be done. "I don't have the money. I don't have the time. It's too risky. What if I fail?" They focus on the problems, the potential roadblocks, and the negatives. Their world is defined by what they lack. This perspective becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because they are constantly focused on obstacles, they rarely take action, and thus they never achieve the results they desire, which further reinforces their belief that the world is full of barriers. They often blame external factors for their lack of success: the government, the economy, their boss, their family. They see themselves as victims of circumstance. The rich mindset, on the other hand, is trained to see opportunities even within problems. They operate from a place of abundance and possibility. When faced with a challenge, they don't see a roadblock. They see a puzzle to be solved. They ask empowering questions like, "How can I make this work? What resources do I need to find? Who can help me with this? What can I learn from this challenge?" They believe that for every problem, there is a solution, and that solutions often hold the key to great business opportunities. Many of the world's most successful companies were born from someone trying to solve a common problem. They take ownership of their situation. They don't blame external factors. They believe they are the creators of their own lives. This proactive and optimistic outlook doesn't mean they ignore reality or are naive. It means they choose to focus their energy on finding solutions rather than dwelling on problems. Where one person sees a brick wall, the other sees the raw materials to build a foundation. This brings us to our sixth and incredibly practical point of divergence: the difference between taking action and making excuses. A hallmark of the poor mindset is a state of perpetual planning and waiting. They suffer from what is often called analysis paralysis. They will research an idea endlessly, talk about it, dream about it, but they rarely take the first concrete step. There is always an excuse. They're waiting for the perfect time to start the business. They're waiting until they have more money, more knowledge, or more confidence. They're waiting for all the lights to be green before they start the journey. The truth, of course, is that the perfect time never comes. This inaction is rooted in the fear of failure we discussed earlier. It feels safer to stay in the realm of ideas than to step into the arena of action where one might stumble. The result is a life filled with what-ifs and should-haves, a collection of unpursued dreams that slowly fade away. The rich mindset is defined by a bias for action. They understand that a good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan next week. They embrace the concept of imperfect action. They know that you don't need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. They take that first step and then the next, learning and adjusting as they go. They understand that momentum is a powerful force. An object in motion stays in motion. They would rather start, make mistakes, learn from them, and correct their course than to never start at all. They see action as the ultimate antidote to fear and the only bridge between their goals and reality. They don't wait for confidence to act. They know that confidence is a result of taking action. This doesn't mean they're impulsive. Their action is often preceded by the calculated risk assessment and learning we mentioned, but once they have a reasonable plan, they execute. They would rather try and fail than live with the regret of not trying at all.
This brings us to our sixth and incredibly practical point of divergence, the difference between taking action and making excuses. A hallmark of the poor mindset is a state of perpetual planning and waiting. They suffer from what is often called analysis paralysis. They will research an idea endlessly, talk about it, dream about it, but they rarely take the first concrete step. There's always an excuse. They're waiting for the perfect time to start the business. They're waiting until they have more money, more knowledge, or more confidence. They're waiting for all the lights to be green before they start the journey. The truth, of course, is that the perfect time never comes. This inaction is rooted in the fear of failure we discussed earlier. It feels safer to stay in the realm of ideas than to step into the arena of action where one might stumble. The result is a life filled with what-ifs and should-haves, a collection of unpursued dreams that slowly fade away. The rich mindset is defined by a bias for action. They understand that a good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan next week. They embrace the concept of imperfect action. They know that you don't need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. They take that first step, and then the next, learning and adjusting as they go. They understand that momentum is a powerful force. An object in motion stays in motion. They would rather start, make mistakes, learn from them, and correct their course than to never start at all. They see action as the ultimate antidote to fear and the only bridge between their goals and reality. They don't wait for confidence to act. They know that confidence is a result of taking action. This doesn't mean they're impulsive. Their action is often preceded by the calculated risk assessment and learning we mentioned earlier. But once they have a reasonable plan, they execute. They would rather try and fail than live with the regret of not trying at all.
Finally, our seventh distinction examines the powerful and often underestimated influence of our social circles. It's the difference in who they choose to associate with. The poor mindset often finds comfort in mediocrity. People tend to gravitate towards those who are at a similar or lower level of success than themselves. This isn't usually a conscious or malicious choice. It's about comfort. It's easier to complain about money problems with people who share the same problems. It's validating to have your own limiting beliefs echoed back to you by your friends. If you are surrounded by people who are cynical, who blame others for their problems, and who have no ambition, it is incredibly difficult to maintain a positive, growth-oriented mindset. This environment can be like an anchor holding you back. If you try to better yourself,
You might even face criticism or be told you're changing or getting too big for your boots. This social pressure can be enough to pull many people back down into complacency. The rich mindset actively seeks out and cultivates relationships with successful, positive, and ambitious people. They understand the law of association. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. They seek out mentors, people who have already achieved what they want to achieve. They are not intimidated by others' success. They are inspired by it. They see successful people as a source of knowledge, inspiration, and opportunity. They join masterminds, attend networking events, and build a circle of advisors and peers who will challenge them to grow. They understand that a conversation with the right person can be more valuable than a year of formal education. They want to be in rooms where they are not the smartest person, because that is where the most growth happens. They celebrate the success of others, knowing that there is enough abundance to go around and that a rising tide lifts all boats. They consciously curate their environment to support their goals, not to sabotage them. So we've journeyed through these 7 profound differences in mindset. We've seen how the rich and the poor think differently about money, assets, risk, learning, opportunities, action, and association. But knowledge, as we've learned, is only potential power. True power comes from application. So how can you start to bridge the gap and cultivate a rich mindset in your own life, starting right now? It can feel overwhelming, but it starts with small, consistent steps. First, I want you to begin with a simple awareness exercise. For the next week, carry a small notebook or use an app on your phone. Every time you have a thought about money, write it down. Is it a thought of fear, like, I can't afford that? Or is it a thought of possibility, like, how can I afford that? Just by observing your own thought patterns without judgment, you begin to identify the programming of a poor mindset that you can then choose to change. Second, commit to your own education. You don't need to enroll in a university. Just dedicate 30 minutes every single day to financial learning. Pick up a book like this one, or The Richest Man in Babylon, or Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Listen to a podcast on investing or business while you're driving or at the gym. Watch educational YouTube videos. Make learning a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Treat your mind like the asset it is. Third, implement the 10% rule immediately. This is one of the most practical steps you can take. Before you pay any bills, before you buy groceries, before you do anything else with your paycheck, pay yourself first. Set up an automatic transfer to move at least 10% of your income into a separate savings or investment account. This single habit forces you to live on the remaining 90% and automatically begins building your asset column. It's a powerful, tangible step toward a rich mindset. And finally, start curating your circle. You don't have to cut off old friends, but you do need to be intentional about who you're letting influence you. Join an online community of investors. Find a local business meetup group. Follow and engage with successful people on social media. Consciously expose yourself to the thinking and habits of the people you want to become.
As we come to the end of our discussion, let's bring everything together. The central message of the rich mindset versus the poor mindset is both incredibly simple and profoundly life-changing. Your financial destiny is not primarily determined by your circumstances, but by your choices. And your choices are driven by your mindset. The gap between the rich and the poor is not a gap of luck, but a gap in thinking. It's the difference between seeing money as a master versus a tool. It's the difference between accumulating liabilities that drain you and acquiring assets that feed you. It's the difference between being paralyzed by fear and being propelled by calculated risk.
It's the difference between a closed mind that says, I know, and an open mind that asks, what can I learn? It's the difference between seeing walls and seeing building blocks. It is the choice to take imperfect action over waiting for a perfect moment that never arrives. And it is the conscious decision to surround yourself with inspiration instead of desperation. Your financial future isn't written in stone. It's written in your daily thoughts and your daily actions. Cultivating a rich mindset is a journey, not a destination. It requires conscious effort, consistency, and a willingness to be uncomfortable as you challenge your old beliefs. But the reward is the ultimate prize, not just wealth, but freedom. The freedom to live life on your own terms. I want to leave you with a question. As you listen today, which of these 7 mindset shifts resonated with you the most? Which one do you feel could make the biggest immediate impact on your life if you were to focus on it? Take a moment to think about it, and please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to read what you think and start a conversation. If you found value in this deep dive and it sparked something within you, I would be incredibly grateful if you could take a moment to hit the like button. It truly helps the video reach more people who might need to hear this message. And if you want more content like this to help you on your journey of growth and financial empowerment, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Thank you for investing your valuable time with me today. Remember, the change begins in your mind.